Hey, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is James Thomas, and today we're going to be talking about pricing your photography. So, when it comes to pricing your photography, it is very important that you understand everything that goes into the pricing. So, you give a fair price and you actually put a price on the time that you're putting in your worth. So, if you are a new photographer, this may be a lot lower than obviously a professional photographer, but these are some things that you should consider whether you are a amateur or a professional. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and stick around. If you see me looking down, I have some notes here just so I can keep on track for what I am talking about. And this video is going to be packed with a lot of value, so hopefully you all stick around and you learn something from this video. At the end of this video, I'm going to be giving you a couple of different pricing models that you can follow. Let's hop in. The first thing that I would like to talk about when it comes to pricing your photography is time. Time is something that you obviously cannot get back. So it is important that you put a price on the hours that you spend and you actually know your worth. Because like I said, time is something that you can't get back, but I wouldn't go overboard when pricing your time unless you think that your photos are a godsend to your client. First thing is hours that you spend shooting. Whether you want to price your photography per hour or have a flat rate, this is something that you definitely need to calculate into your pricing and your packages. The next thing is time that you spend sorting through the images, the time that you spend uploading images to a proof site similar to, like, let's say Pixie so you can send to the client so they can look at the pictures that was taken and choose the ones. The reason I say sort through them is because you don't want to send all of your pictures to your client. It's not really what you think is a good look on your brand. The next thing is the time that you spend editing and retouching. Sometimes there are pictures that just take hours to edit and retouch, depending on what you offer. Me personally, I offer full retouch, so if there's something distracting in the background, it gets removed. If there is a blemish, if the client wants it, it gets removed. And sometimes I can spend up to like an hour or two on one image. And if you do composites, some of these composites take, I don't know, 3-4 hours, even longer to edit just one picture. So depending on how you edit, you need to calculate the time that you're going to spend editing into your hourly cost. And the next thing, also related to time, is going to be whether you are printing or you're giving digital images. So if you're giving prints, you're going to have to, unless you have your own printing house, but even if you do have your own printing house, you're going to need to calculate the time that you're going to spend printing each image. Or if you are going to send it to a print house, you need to spend time uploading the images, make sure that they are print ready, and everything that goes along with that. And if it's digital, as I said, you already did this part because you uploaded it to send them the proofs. Now you're just gonna spend the time to edit and then re-upload them and send it to us so they can download their digital images. Another thing that we need to talk about is the equipment. Our equipment for photography is expensive. So if you're watching this just because you're a client or you're a customer looking for more information on why the photographer that you chose costs so much, our equipment is extremely expensive. We have to pay for our lenses, we have to pay for our camera. If you're a wedding photographer and you want an extra shooter or a second shooter, you need to pay them, right? If you're going to pay them, you have to calculate that into your package price if you have packages, which I'm sure everyone does if you're charging for your photography. If there is multiple locations you need to go to, I would charge for each additional location. I know a lot of people don't charge for the time that they spend going to different locations, but that is something that you need to consider. If we agree on a location here and I have to spend the time, let's say 25 minutes, to go to the next location that you want, you're gonna have to pay for that because there's gas that I'm putting on my car, and the time that I spend having to pack up my equipment from the first location, drive to the second location, and unpack and get ready to shoot at the second location. I don't suggest this personally for my type of business because I don't feel like I need to sit down with each client before the shoot and then after the shoot. Adding value to location and outfit change is very important because if you're not adding some type of value to changing the location or changing the outfit, because it takes time. But I know that there are some people who are like, you can do as many outfits as you like as long as you don't go over the time frame that you are paying for, which I guess is okay. But when it comes to editing, it's very important that you at least consider charging per outfit because they may not reach the time necessary. And it's going to be weird when you have to send a client their photos and you got one picture in this outfit, 3 pictures in this outfit, and then another 5 pictures in a different outfit. That's just my opinion. When it comes to working with clients, I do suggest that you take a deposit. The reason that I say take a deposit is because you don't want someone, let's say you are charging $250 an hour. You don't want someone to ditch out after you already drove to the location and you wasted the gas, you wasted the time, you wasted time looking for inspiration and all of that for the client to not even show up. So I personally recommend that you take at least a 25% deposit to hold their time slot. Me personally, I take 50%, a 50% non-refundable deposit because if they don't show up, I don't waste my time going to the location. But as anyone should tell you, it is very important that you confirm with the client the day of, but they should still understand that the 50% non-refundable deposit is non-refundable. So another thing that we need to calculate into our pricing is our contracts and invoices. And of course, taxes. We cannot forget our taxes. Here in California, taxes are, I believe it is 7.25%. So let's say you have a photo shoot that you're charging $150 for. The taxes on that is going to be about $10.80-ish, something like that. So why would you not put that into the price? So charge $160.88 if that is the taxes. My math is not that great at the moment, and I'm not actually doing the math. I'm just throwing numbers out. But you get my point. You need to do some type of work when you are going into the professional field, any professional field, because if you don't pay the taxes, it's going to be bad at the end of the day. So contracts, unless you have your own contract, you're going to need to get with someone like LegalZoom, or I know there's another one. I can't really think of it at the moment, but I will leave the link in the description. I believe it's called like LawTog or something similar to that. But like I said, I will leave the link in the description below. And invoicing. So if you are sending invoices, does not really charge for that, but that's something that you need to consider adding to your photography in general. I don't know why I put it in this video as far as pricing, but I guess the invoice and taxes kind of go together because when you send the invoice, you want to add on the taxes that you're going to be charging the client. I highly, highly, highly suggest that you do not change the prices. So I suggest that you go ahead and create packages, 3 different packages, a low tier, a medium tier, and a high tier, because it's going to be very important that you don't offer discounts. So let's say that for whatever reason, someone's like, can you offer me a discount at this price? And you go ahead and be like, it's one time, sure, I'll go ahead and do it. And then the next client may have been referred by the previous client who paid, let's say $125, but your package price is $175. They're gonna be like, can I get a discount? And if you say no, they're gonna be like, oh, well, this person that I know said that you only charged them $125. So to avoid any of that and to keep all of your clients on the same page, just create your packages and charge whatever that is. Don't go up and down in your prices. So I always get this question from a lot of clients: can I have the raws? I'm gonna tell you now, no professional photographer is going to give you their raws. So if someone asks you for your raws, tell them no politely. I probably would just say hell no, go away. But tell them politely, no, you're not getting my raws, because you only want your best work to be out there. You don't want, let's say, someone made a weird position or a weird face. You don't want that being out there. I understand everyone's about the candid look and everything, which is great, but if it's not your best work, you don't want your name attached to that work. The last thing that I suggest as far as your pricing go, getting your clients and setting your pricing, is to not let people know what your pricing is on like your contact page. That way you have more people readily available to contact you, because they need to know the pricing, and that way you can build a email list, which is something, if you do have, let's say you have holiday mini sessions at a certain price, you have their email now, and you can send it out to them and hopefully increase your mini sales throughout the year if you have those, because the sessions are going to be quick, you're going to get your money, and they're usually at a discounted rate. So you may have those people who thought you were too expensive to begin with when they originally contacted you for the pricing, but are okay with the mini session because it's quick, it's cheaper, and they get some great photos out of it. I know that this video is about pricing, but like I said in the beginning of the video, there's just everything that you need to think about as far as your time go, your equipment, contract cost. If you need an attorney for whatever reason, I don't know how big you are, but some of you may need an attorney, you may need an accountant. You need to calculate all of this into your pricing, because our equipment eventually adds up over time depending on what type of photography you do. You got the camera, you have the lens, you have different lenses, you have the tripods, you have the lights, you have the soft boxes. Some soft boxes are extremely expensive. For example, the 38-inch Parapop, Glow Parapop softbox, octagon softbox that I have is like $229. That's extremely expensive. So you need to calculate that into your pricing. Obviously, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to add on $100 per shoot for just the light. No, you need to be reasonable and just think about it. You have to do some actual work, go for it, and break down your pricing. So let's say that you are a boudoir photographer. You may need to hire a hair and makeup artist. You're going to have to pay them. So you're going to need to calculate that into your pricing, as well as if you don't have your own studio. Unless you are going to be doing it at the client's house or outdoors, you're going to need to either rent a studio space. One of the things that I do a lot is rent Airbnbs, which I do add on to the cost of the shoot. That's why I want my clients to contact me first instead of just looking at an overall pricing guide. Once they contact you, you send out your packages, which you have put together with the extras on the side. So, for example, you send out a package and it says our shoots begin at $1,500. This is what you include. You include a hair makeup artist. You include 3 looks over a 1.5 hour period. And you're going to be given a 20 image album from the shoot. That's your $1,500 package. And then at the bottom, you can add on, if the location is the client's house, free, because you should have already added in the travel time unless they are way out of range. So you could actually add in client's house under, let's say 50 miles, free. Above 50 miles, this price. In studio, this price. So, do your research, locate your local studios, see if any of the studio sets match what your client is looking for, and you put that price because most studios in certain areas are a overall price roughly the same. So you could just put that in there or up it by 10% for any fluctuation in price. And then you can do like Airbnb session. That way you don't have to worry about going to their house. You don't have to get a studio. You can get an Airbnb session done for them. When you do this, I do suggest that you book maybe 2 or 3. That way you can get more shoots out of the day that you rent this Airbnb for. But you also put that price in there. If you do, just understand that they may be wondering what to do with the rest of that day as far as your Airbnb. You just have to explain to them, this is your session, this is the price, and it is what it is, because it's going to be the experience that brings them back in the future. So as I said before, we're going to be talking about a couple of different pricing models. We're going to run through this real quick. The first thing is going to be a flat rate. So you have the session, the retouching, and the digitals. That's your flat rate. This is what you're going to give them. You can give them the session for an hour. You're going to retouch, probably a light retouch depending on who you are and depending on the price that you plan to charge for this. And you're going to give them, let's say, 10 digitals. The flat rate business, or the flat rate pricing model. The session plus prints. So you're going to give them an hour session, and they're going to go through and choose how many prints they want. And you're going to give them the pricing based on the size, how many images, and whatever for the prints during your sit through. So you can walk them through each of the images. An hourly rate. For example, let's say you did the math and you calculated that your time for shooting, retouching, printing, sending digital sorting, all is going to be $250 an hour. So you do that, $250 an hour plus prints and digitals. $250 an hour, not bad. But you have to remember, your $250 is going to be $250 for the session, for the hour, $250 per hour editing, and then that's it. So hourly, full day rate, and a half day rate. This may be it's more for like brand shooting or shooting a wedding or an event or something similar to that. Because you don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to charge you $250 an hour for like an 8-hour event. I mean, you can perfectly fine if that's the pricing model that you're going with, but a lot of people may not be looking for that. They may be like, I want to know how much it's going to cost for a half day, or I want to know how much it's going to cost for a full day. A full day is 8 hours for most people. And that's pretty much all I have to say on pricing. Hopefully this video helped a lot of you understand everything that you need to put into pricing your photography, and not just go, I'm new, so I'm just going to toss a price out there, $75 for a session. You are going to learn once you actually start the actual business that taxes and the time that you spend doing things and your equipment and everything's going to start adding up. And that $75 that you're charging per session is not going to equal the amount of time and the cost of your equipment that you're putting out. So hopefully that video was very valuable to many of you, and that you would consider subscribing and coming back for the next video. If you do, go ahead and hit that bell icon at the same time so you are notified anytime that a new video is released. And that is all for now. Keep learning and keep creating.